There are things that you can avoid at 20 that others can help you with. There are things that you don't have to go through that society has deemed that you need to go through. You can actually shift from the mainstream narrative and create your own. You can create your own story. And be sure to stay tuned to the end of the video. And my objective here is going to be to add value to you and to help you navigate that path. Welcome back to another one. I got a tripod. Tried to set the tripod up somewhere. Couldn't do it, so I'm just going to have to carry you with me today. Okay, you're in my hands. You're in good hands, like all states. The title of this video, just to jump straight into it, is something along the lines of what I've learned being in my 20s, my early 20s, or maybe even what I've learned navigating the spiritual path. 3 things. First thing, being 20. If you're 20 something, if you're 20 anything, the first thing is that it is not all integrated yet. And what do I mean by it? Your craft, your passion. There is still so much to learn. And yes, I get I'm a bit biased here because here I am 23, kind of projecting my own things that I've realized. But another thing I've realized, which has validated me in doing this, is what's most personal is most universal. So if you're going through something, right, there are millions of other people going through the exact same thing. So what's personal is most universal. It's not all integrated yet, y'all, and that's okay. Especially if you're not even in your 20s yet, you're like 18, relax, okay? It takes time. It takes consistency. It does take dedication. Consistency and dedication doesn't mean seriousness, okay? For a long time in my life, I was just brought up to be so serious, very angry, very negative perspective, kind of explosive, but just like a negative Nancy, if you will. You know, and that just wasn't conducive at all. Who wants to be around a negative person other than negative people? It's because I didn't have a lot integrated back then. However, I came across a book, The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. And at that moment, I was like, oh, I've been doing it wrong, right? In spirituality, we know there is no right or wrong, but we could say in this dualistic nature, it would be better for you to think positive than negative. All it took was that one book, man. And the frequency of that book, meaning the vibration of it, not how frequently I read it, that too. But something about that book just set me off on a whole different personal development awakening. I came across that when I was around 18. And even then, I thought I had it all figured out. But being on this journey for 5 years now, I suppose I have the humility to sit here on camera, believe it or not, and to say I don't have it figured out. There's so much more to be integrated, okay? But once it is, and once that plays out, it's one of the most beautiful things you can witness in any human being. Number 2, things that I've learned in my 20s that may help you. We get closer to God through our relationships. We get closer to love through our relationships. Now, what do I mean by that? How do we get closer to love through our relationships? Well, simply put, there's 2 lenses to look at your relationships through: fear and love. Fear can look like a positive thing. It can look like you're doing big things in the world. You know, that doesn't seem so obvious, right? It was all good just a week ago. But then sure enough, the true colors show and you realize you were looking at it through a lens of fear the whole time. And perhaps they were too. But here's the thing. We can only control the lens that we look through. If we look through a lens of love, regardless if they are perceiving whoever they is, which is just a connection to us, a reflection of us, if we keep that lens of love, looking at them through the lens of love, regardless of what they do, and this takes true strength with a capital S. It's a characteristic of love, of God, of source. You can tell I'm very passionate about this, but this has been a blessing to me. If we can forgive whatever comes our way, meaning like, not like this, like, I guess I'll forgive you. Yeah, because I'm superior and you're inferior. Yeah, I'll forgive you. I guess you deserve it. Get on out of here. That's forgiveness to destroy. That's forgiveness of the ego, okay? And that doesn't seem very nice, right? And it can be framed all different types of cute little ways. Real forgiveness is forgiving them, bear with me here, forgiving them for what they could never do to you. Because who am I? Who are you? That's the key. Who you truly are can never be harmed. We understand this, right? I mean, one of the biggest things, aside from A Course in Miracles, that's helped me have this realization that I'm not this body, I'm pure awareness, is Bufo. It's a sacred medicine. Some of you may have heard of it. The main compound in it is 5-MeO-DMT, and it comes from the Sonoran desert toad, the Bufo toad. I've sat many times. There was a point where I carried the medicine. I've kind of taken a step back and just worked on my own awareness since then, which has been a blessing. When you sit with this medicine, it's similar. It's in the same field as ayahuasca, but it's much more potent, I'd say. You really do experience who you are, and it's beautiful. It's just love, bliss, But then you sure enough come back to the real world, so to speak, back to your beliefs, back to your perception. Regardless, you've had a moment of revelation. I've experienced what the closest I've been to God, I'll say. The beauty and the love that you experience when you inhale the medicine It's very profound. And of course, there are perceptions of this. Like, it's obviously not, you don't find it in Walmart. So if you're caught up in the mainstream, you're gonna be like, Bufo, toad venom? Oh, get out of here. This dude's crazy. And I accept that and I forgive that as well. But understand, that's just one of the key things that has helped me perceive, oh, that's what we're doing here. We're not these bodies, these biological masses that are programmed to look out for enemy number one, be selfish. Oh, I'm lacking, so I need to keep these resources to myself. I need to achieve this and then I'll be happy. All of that, it's illusory. And all of that needs forgiving. And all of that is a byproduct of the ego, which you are not. So the second thing is we get closer to God through our relationships. And if we can just remind ourselves that every relationship is a reflection of myself, meaning what I perceive in them, it's going on here. Whether I like it or not, however you want to slice it, that's how it is. I can be like, oh, okay. So if I can just forgive no matter what they've done to me and show love, whether that's being with them or creating space, it's both are valid and necessary. Oh, then I can begin to have healthy boundaries for myself. Wow, okay. So this is really empowering to look through life, look at life, every relationship you have through a lens of love and forgiveness. And that's a lifelong practice. Tip number 3, when you're in your 20s, you are a channel for God. What does that mean? It means that you, as the viewer of this video looking at my face, holographically, because I don't really exist apart from your own perception and your own belief system, you are capable of shifting to a reality that is representative of you channeling your true self, meaning that you are not in a fearful state. You are in a divine, pure, innocent state. You're in a flow state. This doesn't have to be woo-woo. This doesn't have to be airy-fairy. You don't have to rock a crystal mala like I used to around my neck, looking like a spiritual new age pimp. You don't have to do that. You can, however, change on a dime. Change on a dime. And remember that, what does it mean to be a channel of God? It means to develop a few things. One gets on the spiritual path. For example, I'll speak here first person. I got on the spiritual path and I didn't understand what it meant to be a channel of God. I thought I did. I thought I knew it all. I'm a year into the spiritual journey. Oh man, who's gonna stop me? I'm untouchable. I'm invincible. Who I truly am, holy crap. I'm like, are you kidding me? Who's gonna stop me? Until I hit the dark night of the soul. That will stop you, my friend. That stopped me. And you ever have those friends that are just kind of like cosmic water fountains? They just don't know how to kind of keep it all in. Maybe you have that one friend that's into that Nassar Jassara stuff, Donald Trump really being the actual president, QAnon or something. Maybe these words get me canceled from YouTube, but maybe you've seen that person. Grateful to know about the knowledge, but this is starting to look like it's more about you and what you know. Like there's something deeper, and there's trauma. That used to be me. I never knew how to kind of shut that off. I was like, duh, why are you complaining? You just create your own reality, stupid. God, I can't even vibe with your frequency. I didn't want to look at the negatives of the world because I wanted to be in the world, not of the world, which it's interesting. Paradoxically, once you look at that stuff, how much it actually integrates and how much it actually becomes a lived experience for you. But I say that to say, become a channel of God, because why not? Why be anything less? And what is God? Well, God is all that is. It's the battery that powers all of this shit. You can look at the body as the hardware, the mind, the mental faculties as the software, and spirit, or God, or source, or universe, or as one of my teachers, Matt, says, the purple monkey dishwasher, because it doesn't matter what you call it. You look at God as the battery that powers all of this. It's like the never-stopping Energizer Bunny. Thinking purple monkey dishwasher, how about the purple Energizer Bunny percussion player? Boom, 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 boom. It's that awareness that's always there, okay? It's the only reason I'm able to look you in the eye with a constant gaze and tell you this stuff, because I've lived it, I've experienced it. Like in tip number 2, one of the benefits of sitting with Bufo, I'm probably lowballing here, but 50 plus times, is it's a constant blast to revelation. You get constant tastes of what it is to be in revelation, what it is to experience a love frequency. And I'm snapping to symbolize all the times that I've had to sit and face that. And you think it sounds great, like, oh, let me just press a button and get that right now, which that's what all addictions are. It's you're just seeking for God, but it's not. You get there, and I would say your first time is the best time, because You have to surrender control, and you have to get used to surrendering control. Like, you have to get used to relaxing. If you're not, the process gets pretty intense. Very, very visceral comes to mind. People thrash around, people cry, scream, bite, pull, push, run, kick. But it's all beautiful, because what are they doing? What is one doing in a bufo process when they seemingly spaz out? Letting go of trauma. Maybe they don't know how to relax, again, surrender. Maybe there's some things they haven't recognized, accepted. And I don't want to get too carried away here, but after we do that stuff, one of the ways I wasn't trained, and every academy has its flaw, every dog has its day. There's always something. There's always the small darkness in the light side of the yin yang symbol. There's always the darkness. There's that little dark circle, just as the dark has a little light circle. The little dark circle when I went through my bufo training was the fact that there was very little idea of integration. No one really had a set, structured way of how to refill with the love, peace, joy, and abundance that God truly is, that the characteristics of God are, that we can actually learn to embody as sons of God or as children of God. Love, peace, joy, and abundance. So when we surrender, and we don't have to have bufo for this, that's another thing. You don't need bufo. I know that's kind of been the takeaway of this whole thing, is the medicine. When you surrender, be sure to refill. Be sure to refill with the love, with just get used to generating that feeling. Learn to self-generate. Please, please learn to self-generate. Stop taking and pinging off of other people's emotions. That's another social skill that bufo doesn't teach, spirituality doesn't teach. You have to go dig for it. You have to look up social skills. You have to look at books like Social Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. You have to, because so long as we ping off of people, we just refill with trauma, because people don't like to be pinged off of. People can feel that, and unless they're a leader, a true leader, it's probably going to result in feelings of insecurity, inadequacy. I've been there, I've done it. Sometimes I still do it. I'm not perfect, but you get it. And so understand that all of this is necessary to be more of a clear channel of God. I still have my vices. I'm most certainly not perfect. I changed my name in 2021 to Jivon for a reason, and that is to symbolize that I can and will be liberated while living. I will be a free being while still occupying a human vessel. And it will show through my work, through serving you guys, and increasingly, this is an intention of mine I'm setting right now, increasingly making it more about you and less about me. Because even as I bring this idea of me up right now, I'm like, it's not about me, it's about you guys. So that's my third tip, and I'm closing with that. Become more of a channel of God now, so you have this stuff down pat by 30. By 40, you will be a master at whatever craft you were able to choose. And I don't know about you guys, but when I see someone that's in their 40s, I'm like, and it just shows they have embodiment through their whatever their practice is. I'm like, I'm gonna go to that guy. Or even 60, like even better. Like, I'm gonna sit at the feet of that master. He looks like he knows something, a thing or two. Looks like he's integrated a thing or two, which they have. A lot of them have been through hell and back, especially if they're standing to talk about it, and they have something to show for it. So what was tip number 1, huh? You don't have it all figured out. Number 2, we get closer to God through our relationships. And number 3, become a channel of God now. So by the time you're 30, 40, you're an absolute master, you're OG, you're killing the game, and you can help out a lot of people, okay? I love you. Take these tips and implement them. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.